The air crackled with an unnatural stillness, the kind that makes your skin prickle before a storm. At 5:47 a.m., a black SUV with no plates rolled silently into Willow Creek, its tinted windows swallowing the faint glow of streetlights. It didn't belong here, not in this sleepy suburb, where sprinklers hummed and dogs barked at squirrels. The vehicle stopped at the edge of 1427 Maple Drive, engine idling like a predator catching its breath. Inside the house, Jake Harper stirred, his coffee maker gurgling in the pre-dawn quiet. He didn't know it yet, but in the next 10 minutes, his life and the lives of everyone on this street would hinge on a single moment, a single word. 5. Jake wasn't a hero. He was a 38-year-old mechanic who spent his Saturdays under the hood of a 1969 Pontiac GTO, a rust-streaked relic left by his father. The car was more than metal. It was memory, a tether to a man who'd taught him how to tighten bolts and face the world with steady hands. That morning, Jake was up early, the scent of motor oil and fresh coffee grounding him as he sipped from a chipped mug that read "World's Okayest Uncle." His sister, Clara, was bustling in the kitchen, prepping for her baby shower. Pink streamers hung from the porch, and a hand-painted sign on the door shouted, "It's a girl." Their old hound, Rusty, sprawled on the grass, one ear twitching at the distant hum of sprinklers. It was the kind of morning that felt untouchable, wrapped in suburban serenity. Until it wasn't. The SUV's doors opened in sync, and two men stepped out, their boots crunching on the asphalt. They wore black tactical vests emblazoned with neighborhood compliance, a title that didn't exist in Willow Creek's county records. The taller one, gaunt with a shaved head and mirrored sunglasses, moved like a man who'd never been questioned. His partner, stocky and silent, carried a collapsible tow rig, its metal hooks glinting under the rising sun. They zeroed in on Jake's GTO, parked in the driveway, its chrome bumper catching the light like a defiant middle finger. "Violation of Code 72, the tall one barked, his voice cutting through the morning hush. "Unauthorized vehicle in residential parking. This car's being impounded." Jake, wiping grease from his hands, slid out from under the GTO. "What the hell are you talking about?" he said, squinting at the men. "We don't have an HOA. This is my property." The tall man didn't flinch. "You've got 3 minutes to clear the area, or we'll charge you with obstruction." His partner knelt by the GTO, fastening tow hooks with practiced speed. The car groaned, its frame straining against the rig. Jake's pulse quickened. This wasn't a misunderstanding. These men weren't local. Their vests were too crisp, their movements too choreographed. He glanced at the house, where Clara's laughter floated through an open window, oblivious to the scene unfolding outside. "You're not taking my car," Jake said, stepping forward. "Show me some ID. Now." The tall man smirked, a predator sizing up prey. "You don't make the rules here." His partner stood, hand resting on a stun baton clipped to his belt. The air thickened, heavy with unspoken threats. That's when the screen door creaked open, and Uncle Marcus stepped onto the porch. Barefoot, wearing a faded Army Ranger tee and cargo shorts, he held a ceramic mug that read, "World's Toughest Grandpa." At 62, Marcus was a retired FBI hostage negotiator, a man who'd stared down cartel gunmen and talked jumpers off ledges. His gray hair was cropped close, his eyes sharp as flint. He sipped his coffee, calm as a monk, and surveyed the scene like a chess player studying the board. "Morning," Marcus said, his voice low, almost pleasant. "Looks like you boys are in the wrong driveway." The tall man turned, irritation flashing across his face. "This doesn't concern you, old-timer. Go back inside." Marcus tilted his head, unfazed. "See, that's where you're wrong. That's my nephew's car, and you're trespassing." He set the mug on the porch railing, his movements deliberate. "You've got 5 seconds to step away." The tall man laughed, a sharp, hollow sound. "You threatening us? We're neighborhood compliance. You interfere, you're breaking the law." Marcus didn't blink. "5, he said, raising one hand. The stocky man froze, tow hook in hand, his eyes darting to his partner. The tall man's smirk faltered, replaced by a flicker of unease. "You're out of your depth, Grandpa," he snapped, but his voice cracked, betraying him. "4," Marcus said, taking a single step forward. Rusty growled from the grass, sensing the shift. Inside, Clara's laughter stopped, replaced by the soft thud of footsteps approaching the door. Jake's heart pounded. He wanted to shout, to stop this, but Marcus's calm was a force of its own, pinning him in place. The tall man reached for his stun baton, his movements jerky, like a man who sensed the game slipping away. "You're making a mistake," he growled. "3," Marcus said, his voice steady as a metronome. The baton cleared its holster, its tip sparking faintly. Then it happened. Marcus dropped his mug. It hit the concrete with a sharp crack, shards scattering like gunfire. The sound was a signal, a line crossed. In 2 strides, Marcus closed the distance to the tall man, his left hand snapping out to seize the man's wrist. A twist, a sickening pop, and the baton clattered to the ground. Marcus's right fist drove into the man's solar plexus, folding him like a cheap lawn chair. Before the man could gasp, Marcus spun him around, slamming him face first onto the GTO's hood. The car's alarm chirped, a brief, startled cry. From his pocket, Marcus produced a zip tie. Where had that come from? And bound the man's wrists in one fluid motion. The stocky man lunged, abandoning the tow rig, his own baton raised. Marcus sidestepped, fluid as water, and caught the man's arm mid-swing. A pivot, a push, and the man was on the ground, face down, Marcus's knee pressing into his back. Another zip tie, another set of wrists bound. It was over in seconds, a masterclass in precision. No wasted movement, no unnecessary force. Just cold, calculated efficiency. Jake stood frozen, his wrench still in hand. Rusty barked, tail wagging like he'd just witnessed a magic trick. Clara burst onto the porch, phone in hand, her eyes wide. "What the Jake, are you okay?" "Keep filming," Jake said, his voice shaky. Clara nodded, her phone already recording. Marcus stood, brushing dust from his shorts. The tall man, pinned to the hood, mumbled, "You're dead, man. You have no idea who you're messing with." Marcus leaned close, his voice a quiet blade. "You picked the wrong house. That's your mistake. Don't make another." Sirens wailed in the distance, real ones, cutting through the morning haze. 2 police cruisers screeched on a maple drive, boxing in the SUV. Officers spilled out, hands on holsters assessing the scene. 2 men in fake vests, one zip-tied on the hood, the other groaning on the pavement. Marcus, calm as ever, hands raised slightly, and Jake, still clutching his wrench like a lifeline. "Hands up," the lead officer shouted, a wiry man named Sergeant Rivera. Marcus complied, his posture relaxed. 2 suspects, impersonating officials, Marcus said. Attempted theft of a vehicle. No IDs, possibly armed. "I detained them." Rivera blinked, taking in the scene. "You did this." Jake stepped forward. "He saved our asses." The officers moved quickly, cuffing the fake enforcers and searching the SUV. What they found unraveled the scam like a cheap sweater. The neighborhood compliance vests were homemade, stitched with Velcro patches. The stun batons were modified airsoft toys, painted to look lethal. The tow rig was stolen, its plates traced to a junkyard in Arizona. In a glove box, blank violation notices bore fake seals and QR codes leading nowhere. But the real gut punch came from a hidden compartment under the cargo floor. A folder stuffed with surveillance photos, driveways, cars, handwritten notes. Retired couple, no cameras. Single mom, works nights. Classic car, no alarm. These weren't opportunists. They were hunters, preying on the vulnerable. "Holy shit," Jake muttered, peering over an officer's shoulder. Marcus said nothing, his eyes locked on the suspects, now slumped in the back of a cruiser. Rivera approached Marcus, notepad in hand. "You military?" "Retired FBI, hostage rescue," Marcus said. 28 years. Rivera's posture shifted, respect replacing skepticism. "You handled this like a pro." "Just doing what needed doing," Marcus said. By noon, Willow Creek was a circus. News vans lined the curb, cameras rolling as neighbors spilled onto their lawns, clutching coffee mugs and phones. Clara's VY Deo, uploaded to X, had exploded 300,000 VYUs in 2 hours. The comments a wildfire. This guy's a badass. Fake cops picked the wrong street. Where do I get that mug? The story was VY Rao, a spark in a dry forest. The police search deepened, revealing a scam spanning 4 states. The fake enforcers targeted HOA-free neighborhoods, posing as compliance officers to seize cars, extort cash, or intimidate homeowners into compliance. They'd hit 17 communities, stealing vehicles and VYNGS from retirees and single parents. Their operation was a machine until it ran into Marcus. That afternoon, as officers hauled away the SUV, a reporter shoved a mic in Jake's face. "Your uncle's a hero. What's his story?" Jake glanced at Marcus, who was picking up mug shard from the driveway, his expression unreadable. "Talk to him," Jake said. But Marcus waved off the cameras, crouching to collect a jagged piece of ceramic, running his thumb along its edge like it held secret. Later, as the sun dipped low, Rivera returned with news. "Those two aren't alone," he said, sitting on the porch with Marcus. "We've got leads on a bigger ring. Your takedown gave us the break we needed." Marcus nodded, sipping sweet tea. "Good. Finish it." Rivera hesitated, then handed Marcus a folded letter. From a department. "Commendation for bravery." Marcus glanced at it, then set it aside. "Not why I did it." But Willow Creek wasn't done thanking him. The next morning, neighbors arrived with gift spies, flowers, a hand-stitched quilt from an elderly couple who'd nearly lost their RV to the same scammers. By evening, the street had transformed into an impromptu block party, tables laden with food, kids chasing fireflies, and the GTO gleaming in the driveway, a small flag taped to its antenna. At the center stood a sculpture, crafted by a local artist from shard of Marcus's mug. Etched in paint, it read, "At 5 they fell." The story didn't stop there. Clara's VY Deo hit 5 million VYUs, picked up by national news as veteran uncle stops scam ring. The sheriff's office launched a task force, arresting 7 more suspects based on the SUV's EVY Denke. The scam was dismantled. Its VY Tims promised restitution. A veterans group honored Marcus with a plaque in the town square. Its inscription simple: "To those who stand when others hesitate." Weeks later, Jake found Marcus on the porch, gluing his mug back together, piece by jagged piece. "You didn't just stop them," Jake said. "You reminded people they can fight back." Marcus set a shard in place, his hand steady. "People forget they've got a voice. Doesn't take a badge or a gun. Just a line you won't let anyone cross." Jake nodded, the weight of it settling in. "So what now?" Marcus smiled, faint but real. "Now, I finish this mug, and wait for the next idiot who thinks this is the house to mess with." The GTO gleamed under the porch light, unbroken, unbowed. And in Willow Creek, the air felt different, lighter, stronger, like a neighborhood that had remembered its own strength. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.